Mythics, how are we all? Hopefully you've had a lovely week. Yes, I'm back, and this time it's fantasy. Well, every time it's fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter, but you probably already knew that because you've been watching the Edra Tales Twitch and YouTube channels. And if you haven't, what is going on in your life? You've got to take a serious think about the choices you make. Yes, we have two YouTube channels actually. The Bottled Imp is another one. If you love fantasy, then check out The Bottled Imp. We have over 450 episodes there of fantasy goodness, fantasy book reviews, fantasy film reviews, and fantasy board game reviews. Alongside me is Grockle Snook from said Bottled Imp. He is The Bottled Imp. And that channel is co-created with Julian, who's a fine fettle of a man. And we also have an Edra Tales YouTube channel where I export these episodes from Twitch and put them onto the YouTubes simply because some people might want to watch YouTube, but also recently Twitch have made a change. On Twitch you can only store 100 hours worth of live streams, and then that's it. They just won't let you put any more up or save. And I guess I understand where they're coming from, because they're a live streaming channel, right? You know, platform, rather than say a YouTube. It's a slightly different business model, which is fair enough. And look at that, I have one viewer. Hurrah! I was just about to say I have 0 viewers, and then it kicked over to 1. So thank you for joining me. It's always nice to have people watching rather than just me, an old geezer, grumpy, in a dungeon with an imp rattling around on his own talking to himself, which is what I do for most of the time. Anyway, yeah, so if you're in the chat and you want to leave a comment, please do so, because I don't know who you are unless you leave a comment, and then I can say good morning to you. But I'm saying good morning to you anyway. If you just want to lurk as they call it, then you're more than welcome to do so. So this is the channel, Edra Scrolls. This is the show where we talk about creativity, we talk about fantasy, we talk about your projects, we talk about my projects, and we do sometimes wander off into the realms of other topics. And I set this up actually, the reason why I like doing these is because I do create different projects. Sometimes it's helpful and useful if you speak to other creative people, or, you know, not necessarily creative people, but people that understand creativity or they're interested in creativity, because just by talking about your project, sometimes you can move it along. Because if you get stuck on a project, just by talking it through, not even necessarily listening to suggestions or people suggesting things, but just talking it through can then help unlock something. So, you know, obviously people suggest stuff as well, which is great. So we help each other out in that way. So that's why I like doing it, also because of the bants. But I think what's happened is there's normally more people watching. I think what happened is I've caught people out by being relatively close to being on time. Not on time, but only a couple of minutes late, because normally I'm a little bit longer now. But yeah, so look, check me out, only a couple of minutes late. Maybe next week I'll actually be dead on time. So let me know what you've been up to this week in your creative endeavours, because it's always interesting. I have been doing various projects, as you can imagine, but the main one that is taking up all of my brain space, all of my mind thoughts and my creativity is, of course, To Kill a Thief. Devilish Dilemmas, an Edra Tales game book. This is my first game book that I have successfully kick-started. We raised over £2,000, which is fantastic. And this was a sample that I wrote before I set up the Kickstarter, because what I wanted was a sample just so people could download it, just to see, you know, the type of writing it's going to be, the type of game book it's going to be. So I'm very grateful we did that, because obviously it also gave me a taste of writing a game book, because I've never written a game book before. I've live streamed not hundreds, I'd say 50 game books. I don't know, how many have we got? We've got loads here, loads on my shelf. So yeah, over the last 3 or 4 years we've done lots of live streaming of game books. So I'm well versed in game books of all eras. Some of the classics like Fighting Fantasy and Lone Wolf, some of the more modern ones like Jonathan Green, and I guess, well, the most recent modern author, I guess, would be James Orkett, where he produced 4 stories in one volume, but they were 100 entries only, so they were like short game books. And I thought that was a really good idea, because you might feel like, oh, I want to write a game book, but then it is quite a big task. It is quite a big task, as I found out. So, are we having problems with the chat? Because no, I've had no chat. So sometimes Twitch does this. I've just realised. Sometimes Twitch does this where you guys are typing away and I can't see the comments, so I don't know you're there. So if that is the case, or there genuinely is no one watching, that's perfectly possible. But if that is genuinely the case, then could somebody DM me on Facebook just to let me know? Because otherwise I'm just rambling into the wind, which is what I normally do. Yeah. So it's saying I've got 1 viewer. So if that viewer is typing... Hello, Martha. Okay, so chat is working. So have you been watching from the beginning, Martha? Because are you the 1 viewer? You see what happens as soon as the sun shines in England? People desert me. No, just came in. Super tired. You're super tired, Martha. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. So the chat is working, so that's good. But it does mean that I only have 1 viewer. Well, 2 viewers now. That's kind of weird. It said 0 viewers. Then it said 1 viewer. They didn't leave a comment, so I don't actually know if that's true or not. I think Twitch is a bit glitchy. So let's say I've got 100 viewers, because it's just not showing the figures right. But no, what's happened? Well, I know what's happened. As soon as the sun shines, people are off out, aren't they? Having fun outdoors in the sun. How selfish of you. Yeah? You should be indoors watching me. It's much more interesting. Well, hopefully you'll be able to sleep a little bit later on, Martha, or feel free to just drift off whilst watching this. It's not a problem. I was just talking about game books, basically, and James Orkett's Quad Portal. I think that's what he's titled, the game book. It's on my shelf, actually. I haven't got it here. And, yeah, he did 4 short game book entries. So it's 100 entries for each story. And that was quite an interesting endeavour to play through, because they didn't feel like they were too short, which was kind of weird. It felt like you did do stuff and you kind of did achieve something within those 100 entries. And bear in mind, if you write 100 entries, as a player, you might only play 50 of them. So again, it becomes even shorter. I don't know why I've got the hiccups now. Martha says she's indoors under a blanket. She's going to a gaming club after this. Not sure what to do there. Fantastic. I love the fact you've got a regular gaming club every Saturday, it sounds like now. Well, that's the beauty, though, if you're not sure what to do there, because sometimes it's nice, because I do go to a gaming club as well, and sometimes I'll bring a game that I particularly want to play. Other times, though, and this is kind of maybe more the majority, it's like, no, I'm just going to see what other people bring and see what we're going to be playing. So sometimes I quite like that, where it's a bit of a surprise to see what's on offer, because some people bring some amazing games, especially if you've got a full day to play. It does mean that you can play those big box games that take 3 or 4 hours, because there are some out there. There's quite a few out there now. Monday and Saturday we have test period in having an open on Saturday. Oh, okay, so we have a test period. So is it an open... Is your gaming club open to all? Is that what you mean? That it's like... It's an open day, come along. Is that what you mean? We have a test period in having it open on Saturday. Yeah, because our game club, we don't necessarily do that, but it's always open to anybody. You know, they do every other week Mondays, and they do every week Wednesdays at a different venue, and then they have an all-day Saturday one, I think, once a month. Over 13, and now we are testing, so we should be open twice a week. Oh, I see. So you've got over 13 people, and then you're just seeing if there's enough interest to go 2 days a week. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, that is fair enough, because especially if you have to hire the hall, you know, that if you have to hire a space, and it might cost you, you know, 20 quid an hour, or would it be that expensive? I guess it is nowadays. You know, you need to fund that, so you need to obviously charge people to come in, so you've got the space already hired. Jam is here. Greetings, Edra lights. Oh, Edra lights. Edra lights. See, that rolls off the tongue pretty well. See, this is the thing with the bottled imp. It was obvious you just call them imps. You know, people that watched, they were imps or impettes. For Edra Tales, it's like, oh, I haven't quite got that. It's the same thing now. So that's why I call you Mythics, because you're all interested in mythical creatures and mythical things and magical things. But Edra lights, yeah, kind of works. Monday is TTRP day. Saturday, all other stuff like board games, cosplay, and Magic the Gathering. Oh, okay, so you specifically got role-playing Monday. Then on Saturday, you do anything you like. Board games, cosplay, Magic the Gathering. Presumably, you can also do RPGs. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's how you want to run it. So our one, I don't think does cosplay. I don't think people are into cosplay that go to that club. But there's nothing. I mean, if someone said, yeah, can we make costumes in the corner, they'd be up for that, I'm pretty sure. I'm just getting over a cold. Typical as I'm on leave. Yeah, exactly. Sorry to hear that, Jam. Big hugs to Jam, everybody. I think I know why people get colds. Listen to me. Bringing out my words of wisdom. It's because when you're on the go and you kind of go, oh, I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to do the work, I have to be... Your body, you just sort of plough on through. As soon as you then go, relax, your body then goes, right, we can start healing now and get this out and get it sorted. So that's exactly what it is. Yes. So there we go. So I was just talking about game books, Jam. You'd be probably interested in this, obviously. And how James Orchett did quite a clever thing in his first game book attempt of writing it. And Lee Rin is here. Good afternoon. That he did 4 short game book stories with 100 entries each, which I think is quite a good approach, because then you won't get necessarily overwhelmed by it all. Good rainy afternoon, fellows. Apologies for being late. No worries. Real life takes precedence. Was having a late lunch with my sister. Oh, lovely. And her kids, who just came back from Australia. And 2 or so hours from now, we're all going to have dinner with Mum's best friend. Well, that's no excuse, Lerin. And just falls over dead. Well, that sounds lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, the latest update on my game book. Let us know how you're getting on with your game book, Jam, by the way. Good morning, Sally. Sally, you're just in time to talk numbers and game books. Oh. So, I'm at the stage now. Oh, God, yeah. I'm at the stage now where I've I hope I'd missed it. Well, I delayed it especially. I hoped well, we can talk about something else if you like. Okay, let's not talk about the numbers. Here's a question. We've got a gamebook author here. Jam. I was actually waiting for Jonathan or Jam, or if Joseph Daniels was going to tune in, or anyone that's written a gamebook. And actually, no, maybe people that play it as well. Of course, what am I thinking? People that play gamebooks. For those wondering, I've already heard this story. I'm going to hide now. You're in for a treat. Well, no, I'll do the brief version. I'll do the brief version because you know me. I can keep things brief. No, let's talk about this instead. We won't talk about numbers then. What I've done to make it clear when I'm looking through my manuscript. So this is the full game book, double-sided, and this is just the rough. Okay, so it won't be typeset like this. It's going to be typeset like a proper book. You know, that comment deserted. No, I said, didn't I? What, you're in for a treat? Yeah. You are. I've put in big, bold red, that sadly your adventure ends here, okay? Because I seem to recall... No, never mind, the moment's gone. Oh, sorry. Story of my life. Sally, story of my life. I seem to recall... that's what they'd put on the fighting fantasy books, but I seem to recall it was in bold and away from the paragraph, so you could see it easily. But then, having read through, the latest one, it doesn't appear to have done that. They don't appear to have done that. It's just part of the normal text. So my question to you, everybody... is it best to point that out in bold, but then if you're flicking through, you'll see the numbers. You might go, oh, if I see that number, 398, for example, don't choose that number because I know it's a dead end. I know it's a kill. So I must have misremembered that. Is that the Mandela effect? So I've now got the Forest of Doom, which I've had anyway, but I've got it here in my hands, in my mucky little hands. So I'm going to flick through this now to see if my memory was right. I don't think it is. The Witches of Kara is coming on leaps and bounds, says Jam. Yeah, I put the numbers in the middle, was the question. No, that's not the question. That's not the question. Sally, you're not even listening. Let me read Jam's one here. The Witches of Kara is coming on leaps and bounds. Art has started showing up, which is brilliant. And I have 4 days to get typing done. Absolutely amazing. Should be playtesting by next month. Brilliant. Malcolm Barter has started on the map. So the raffle shouldn't be too long. That is fantastic news, Jam. Big round of applause. Lyrin's put got to see the Brontosaurus, yay! Like Pantigo Titan from London, one last time before he goes back to London Natural History Museum next Monday. Oh, is he coming back now? Because I knew he's been on tour for like 5 years or something. Looking through the notes, I saw that the full skeleton was actually made from 6 separate planets. Yeah. Because they're completely unharmed and unchewed dino fossil, virtually impossible to find. Yes, it's not one. They didn't find one. I'm pretty sure I read that as well. Yeah, it's an interesting, and also a lot of sometimes when they find fossils, they're not 100% sure. A lot of the dinosaur people kind of made up what they look like as well. They kind of guessed, which is fair enough because if you've not got all the bones, it's like, how does this all fit together? Oh, here it is. Okay, so in my mind, this is what I'm talking about. In my mind, it's what I'm talking about. Say that's an entry, and say that was an entry where you died. I thought in your mind that it was bold or capital letters that said, hey, we have systematical groundage for you too. Best viewers. Woohoo! Thanks for joining us. hopefully it counts on the viewers, on the numbers. So I thought it had bold here, or at least in capitals, your adventure ends here, because it's a dead end. You know, you die or something happens. You know, you're trapped in a dungeon. Ring any bells? But having looked through the original one, it doesn't. It just says your new destiny is determined and your venture ends here. But it's all part of the same paragraph. So, and I thought, oh yeah, they've done that because when you're flicking through, you won't know which numbers do that and which ones don't. So, for example, let's just say 333, spoilers, is the wrong choice. So if I was to remember that, if I happen to see that that's the wrong choice, whenever I came up to that in the book, I would say, oh no, I remember 333 being an ending, being a dead end. Yeah, go away, bots, absolutely. That is what I thought was happening, yeah? But I was, you know, so I was wrong about that. I misremembered that. I thought that that's what they did. It's all just part of the same paragraph. So, which leads me to think that all game books do that, which makes sense. I'm just going to flick through Jonathan Green's Beowulf. Yeah, and I can't see anything that just says, you know, you are done. That's it. So there we go. So that is a decision that's going to be made. Because on my one, this is what I mean. I'll show you it properly. This is what I mean. So I've put here, do you see that in red? Sadly, your adventure ends here. But that's really bold and clear. So if you were to, you know, you might flick through and go, oh, that's a dead end, that's a dead end, that's a dead end. But I did that for me specifically because then I can see how many dead ends I've got in there. There's quite a few. Harry chases Silver with a spider on the end of his cane. What? Oh, I see. Spider bot. Spider bot. Spider bot. So where I'm at then with the game book is I have completely written the game book. I've edited it. Well, I've read through it, proofread it once, and now it's out to 2 proofreaders. One of which is Sally, so it's very kind of her. And because it's quite a lot, I've actually double spaced it, and I've done it in 100 entry sections. So Sally has sections 1 to 100, and then this is the next batch, and then we got 2 more. So it's quite a lot, so I do appreciate everything that you're doing, Sally. And also I've got another friend, Claire, who has very kindly offered to proofread it as well, so that's fantastic. And also, I do believe Rosalind is going to proofread it as well. But she also said she'd like to play test it, which is fantastic. So when people play test it, they don't have to proofread it. But if you do spot a spelling mistake and you want to let me know, then that's absolutely fine. But for play testing, I'm really interested to see that all the links work. That are the combats too powerful? You know, too hard? Does the sleep encounters work? Do the all the mechanics? Does everything work? Basically, that's what I would like in the playtesting. Oi, why are you chasing me? Don't be afraid of spiders, but you want a new adventure out at sea. Yeah, exactly. Oh, simply pop it in Kenneth's cup. Thanks. Did I have a dream about spiders? No, I don't think I did. To be fair, I'm not that bothered about spiders, guys. This is a big myth that's grown up now. I think what I said was, I think one time I said, yeah, I'm not too keen on spider croutons. Oh, please. I'm not too keen on spiders. You know, I do. If there's one in my house, I do get the cup and I do put it out. But I'm not a big fan of them. You know, the way they move. They're pretty ugly. They, you know, ugh. But also, when you're playing Skyrim, maybe it's that. Maybe it's the Skyrim thing. That massive spider that comes down. Oh my giddy. I couldn't go into caves for months playing Skyrim. I seriously couldn't. I was like, I can't do that. And then eventually I said, don't be such an idiot. Get in there. So you want to meet my friends? Yeah, my friend Spider. Well, saying that, Martha. No. No way. No. But that's a good point. What would I rather encounter? What would you rather encounter? A spider, a scorpion, or a snake? And they're all deadly. They've all got that deadly poison. What would you rather encounter then? A spider. What did I say? A spider, a scorpion, or a snake? Jam's gone for snake. Okay. They're fast, those snakes, aren't they? Why would you rather a snake? Do you feel like you've got a better chance against a snake? I don't think. Scorpions. How quickly can scorpions move? They can probably move pretty quickly as well. Aliens by James Cameron and Gremlins by Joe Dantagemi. A fear of long-limbed, gabbly. I love that word. Gagbly creatures, along with John Combs' The Thing. Yeah, those films are really good, aren't they? Arachnids are always ready in any direction. That is true. Oh, gangly. There we go. Yes, gangly things. Yeah, and maybe that's what it is with it. Just the limbs. Snake, says Martha. Little nope ropes. I know how to say calm around them, and that in turn keeps. Oh, okay, that's a good point. So they feed off your fear. Sally's Pit, the spider is the only one that can't seriously harm you unless you're in Australia. Yes, well, that's what I meant. If it was a poisonous spider that, can bite you, including me. Exactly. Especially you, Jam. Especially you. God, I don't know. Yeah, maybe snake. I don't know, scorpion. Maybe scorpion because I'm taller. I probably would feel like I could, if it did try to sting you. Could you just kick it out the way before it stung you? I don't know. Maybe you could do that with the spider. With the snake, that could wrap around you, and then it's on you, and you're going, "What the hell?" And it's wrapped around you. That's harder to get you off. Get you off. Freudian slip there. Harder for you to rip off. Yeah, same as You can put it under a cup. Yeah, exactly. Depends how big it is. Same as scorpions, unless they're fantasy creatures where they're huge. Huge spider, like in Skyrim. Huge scorpion or huge snake. Oh, that would be like an anaconda. Well, as long as a person's proportions are 6 to 8 heads tall. Yeah, present comes in. I'm okay, Jam. I once dated a snake. She was Hispanic. There it is. I've had a snake around my neck. A little one fell asleep. Oh. Give me reptile dysfunction. Okay, so good. I'm glad I'll do that. So I'm going to just put in normal writing, your adventure ends here. Or something like that, So that's good. So, just very briefly then with the numbers. So the next stage is getting this out to you, the playtesters. Anyone that wants to playtest it, feel free to playtest it. I would be very, very grateful. But rather than give you this version, where I've literally just done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's all written in order, as much as it can be, I want to give each entry a new number. So, for example, entry number 2 is now entry number 345. Yeah? So I'm randomising the numbers. Entry number 3 is now 104. Entry number 4 is 204. I won't go through them all. But do you see what I mean? But my God, that blew my mind. So, I love reptiles. Joking aside, I had a gecko for 24 years. Oh, yeah, they're pretty cool. Those are. So you won't join me in the reptile park. I don't mind looking at things behind glass, but I remember going to London Zoo and just going into the sort of reptile and insect area and just thinking, nah, this isn't for me. This is horrible. Just something about them. So I very briefly had a bit of a nightmare, and I've learnt from this nightmare. I kept Anolotto, the Peter Pan. Oh, okay. Axolotl. Oh, of amphibians for 3 months. Oh, okay. Nice. Is that as in the what? It never sort of grows up. It lives for a long time. Is that what you mean? So, what should have happened is you write your entries 1 to 400, for example, and then I went online and there's websites that will generate 1 to 400 in a random sequence. So I did that. So what the theory is, you should then copy and paste that next to your 1 to 400 numbers, and then you get what you need. So 1 is 1, so you change 1 with whatever number that is. 2 will be 328. 3 will be 94. 5, yeah, etc., etc. However, my friend had a snake named Ulfric. Oh, brilliant! That's a great name for a snake. I approve. They stay half salamander, half tadpole for life. Oh, fantastic! With gills that don't go away, like they do in adult frogs and salamanders. Oh, I see. That's why they call the Peter Pan. Yeah. So my problem though was I couldn't do that because I put extra numbers in. So I had, for example, 17 and then 17A, 17B, 17C. So of course that's going to throw out the numbers, and I got into a right pickle with it. Plus, I've got, say, 5 entries that you need to work out a code for to then turn to that entry number, that old classic one. And of course, those numbers had to be specific numbers. So, for example, let's say entry 102 had to then equal, on my one, say, 29. Then I'd have to swap those numbers around. And it blew my mind. It took me all day yesterday just to put the numbers in, the jumbled up numbers next to the ordered numbers. And I've lost all the viewership. So what I've learnt, very briefly, is at this stage, at the flowchart stage. Oh, and then on top of that, I missed numbers out. Here. So I had like 7 numbers I hadn't used. I just missed them off because I, didn't. It's the next day or something, and I went, oh yeah, 328 now, when it should have been. I missed out 327, for example. So I love axolotls. Axolotls. They can regenerate limbs. Yes, they're the ones, aren't they? I fed my axolotl literally chopped liver by hand, and being 10 years ago, I simply named him Alex the Axolotl because it rhymed with his actual name type. That is lovely. What a heartwarming story. My snake friend was an archer. He kept arrows in a slither. What? And they are sadly super rare, and they have not treated well as pets. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, my friend had a gecko, and she fed it locusts. Was it locusts or crickets? No, not locusts. It was crickets. Yeah, she kind of just put loads of crickets in, and they were like. And the thing with crickets is they just get out. They get out somehow, and so she had random crickets just jumping around her house. So the lesson learned is, when you do your flow chart, go back through it, making sure that you have definitely got all your numbers in place, and that if you then need to put extra numbers in, like 17A or 17B, 17C, or 23A, whatever, renumber everything. So when it goes 23 and then 23A, change that to 24 and then change everything else before you write the game book. I take it you like the snake arrows scene with James Earl Jones in Conan the Barbarian. Oh, that is, yeah, that's very scary. I think we've all learnt something for the last time. I think what we've learnt, Sally, is nobody's interested in numbers and everyone's interested in snakes and Ancelottis. Isn't he the Premiership manager, Ancelotti? Jonathan would appreciate my number chat. Okay. So the good news is then, that I have now allocated random numbers to the ordered numbers, which means the next stage is now jumbling them up, putting them in order of the jumbled order. Oh, dear Lord, why is this... Why is this so complicated? So I now need to jumble up the actual paragraphs and then PDF it, format it so that each link... Oh, and the other thing then is I have to... So, for example, 34 is now going to be entry 80 in the game book, okay? However, it says, if you'd like to ask her when this was, turn 2, and at the moment it's 35. But that 35 has got a new number. So I'm going to have to change that bit, turn 2, and then go through and fill everything in. Well, it's not really maths, Martha, but I know what you mean. It's figures. It's admin. It's sort of like 34 is now entry 80, but now I need to change. If you'd like to ask her when this was, at the moment it's turned to 35, or if you'd like to ask if she knows about the fake map, turn to 38. So, but 35 and 38 are now different. 35 is now 278, and 38 is now 102. Do you see what I mean? So I'm going to have to go through every link and change those numbers to match the new numbers. Jam, help me out here. There is method in this madness. Yeah, quote Cornelius man. It is one of those situations, Lewin. That is very well put. Yeah. So my next task is to write all those new numbers in the links, then PDF it, and creating every one of those links as a hyperlink, so that if you want to do Explore the Sewers, turn to 48. Well, 48 is now changed, so it'll be 29. Do you want to explore the sewers? Yes, please. And then you can click on that line, it says 29, and then it will jump to entry 29, wherever that is in the game book. Whoops, was making tea. Why? Jam, come on. How dare you make tea? Just talking about the complication of assigning your numbers. So, for example, 51 is now 157. But then inside your entry, you have to change the other things, because this one says turn to 52. Well, 52 is now 213. So I'm going to have to change that 52 to 213. Do you know what I mean? PM incoming. Thanks. So, yeah, that is a good question. how do you do your numbers? So in theory, what you should do is, this is how I think about it. You've got all your entries written 1 to 400. Then you go to a number generator. Then you put in 1 to 400. It will generate those numbers, and then you put them in, and then that should be it. Taking into account any ones that need to be specific numbers, you swap them about. That's really how easy it should be. But because I'd put in 17A, 17B, 17C, 29A, 34B, or A and B, that type of thing, of course it's all going to be out of alignment. And I missed numbers. I put spare numbers in by mistake. Do you see what I mean? Oh, those are preset entries reset. What? Are there any preset? Yes. Or the spell out and add his name. Yes, there are. That's what I'm saying. Then you have to take into account that. Yeah. So, for example, 101 needs to go to 23. So, yeah, I swapped those about. Anyway, I've sorted it out now, Jam. And Lee Rin, I've sorted it out now. But thank you for your concern. Yeah, I did manage to do it. But I hopefully that little 10 minutes was as painful for you as it was for me all day yesterday. Just PM'd you or Messenger, you'll see how I do it. Oh, okay, thank you so much, Jem. I do appreciate that. It's always worth learning. So in the next couple of days, I will be typesetting the book, not full typesetting like it's a finished book, but in a Word document, like I've got it there, but the entries are all jumbled up. And the PDF, you should be able to click on the links to go to the links. So that is what I'd like to send out for play testers. It won't have any illustrations. So if you do want to play test it, believe me, you won't have to worry about that type of numbering system. I've had it twice now. You've had it about 4 times now. So. Then please do get in touch, or I'm going to put a Facebook notice up in Edra Tales and also on my own personal one. And hopefully, the thing is, I had hoped to get this all done for May. I realistically need to leave people alone while they play test it. I'd like to see how long, this is the question, how long does it take for people to play test a game book? Jam, you've got more experience about that. Lee Rin, has anyone, Martha, have you play tested a game book? How long should I give people to play test the game book? Because obviously I can't leave it indefinitely. I had hoped to get it published by mid-May, 2 weeks to a month. Okay, so maybe if I said 2 weeks, see that feels quite tight. I guess it just depends how busy people are. I think when I typeset it, maybe I'm going to play test it as well. But no, because I've got illustrations to get on with, of course. So maybe I let people play test it. Then I get all their information back. Then I make those changes. I'll look it up, see what's going on. And then I might play test it then. But I've got the illustrations to do, which I'm looking forward to. So this is the lino. So I'm going to be cutting into this lino, creating line art. So hopefully it'll have a sort of relatively cool, distinctive feel to it. 1 to 2 hours a day for those 2 hour weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Especially if the testing question is not good at maths. Yeah, that's helpful, Lirin. And also it depends how much time they've got, doesn't it? So there we go. So that is the next thing that I'm going to be doing. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it is fun work. It's enjoyable work. I'm just glad I got the numbers done. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? I had hoped to get it published, to get it all done to the backers. So the backers get it first. I do believe that the backers should get products first. And then I have got a book festival to do in May, which is mid-May. So it would have been nice to get it all wrapped up for that, get all the books out to the backers, and then I could maybe stock 10 or whatever, 20 on my stall. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm just out by a month. I had to correspond with a gent who wrote a particular game book because I could not solve a riddle that required advanced maths, for instance. But it was a wonderful book to play. Oh, well, that's that's a very interesting bit of feedback. I do have a few puzzles, but I don't think they're too difficult. And again, that is really interesting. How hard do you set your puzzles? I guess you then have to think, who is this game book for? If it's for adults, then yeah, you can set them pretty hard. If it's for kids, then you have to have a little bit more leeway. Hits Jam with a soft pillow. Why is that? What has Jam put? What's Jam put? I found an old map the other day. Might use it for the story in our conglomerate book. Oh, fantastic. Passes out. Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, both Jam and myself, we do need to fulfill our first original game book first. You know, the one you pledged for. And then we'll work on the collaboration. I think that's fair, isn't it? So once I've done all the game book and got all the rewards out for that, then I'm going to do the other game book, the 100 entry one. And I think that's quite cool because the players, hopefully they'll have gotten the game book, either Jam's or mine, and then they'll start playing that. So then hopefully by the time they finish that one, they might then receive, our second one, our joint one. Multiplication and division is okay, but do not go with percentages and algebra in game book puzzles. Yeah. I think algebra is tricky. Percentages can be tricky. Do you want cookies? Puzzles are good, I think. I guess visual puzzles, like in the Osborne books, they're good. Like, can you? It's like, and sometimes there's a poem, and it leads you around the picture to a certain area in the book, in the picture. They're quite cool. What else was I going to say? Codes are probably okay. Anagrams are probably okay. Do you think? Codes, anagrams, collecting objects with numbers on. That's a classic. So you could have this bell, and on the bottom it says 13, and then you add up the total, divide by 2, and then get to the entry. That that kind of thing. That's pretty cool. My one, I'm not going to tell you what my puzzles are again. Wakes up again. Because I don't want to spoil them. I've not seen them in a game book yet. And that's not to say that they haven't appeared in game books, but I've not seen, and I've not played every single game book, obviously. But I think I've stumbled across a puzzle that is not that widely known. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. So there we go. So that is where we're at with the game books. That's interesting. I genuinely thought that they pointed out when you died. Yeah, look here. This entry here, it says, you will return home and become a bear sheep farmer. Your adventure is over. So, yeah. That is Secrets of Salamanus. That's a recent one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just tuck them in. Talisman of Death. Talisman of Death. Might do Talisman of Death. Oh, look at the illustrations on these. Oh, this is Ross Nichols. Is it Ross Nichols? It looks like Ross Nichols. Oh, Bob Harvey. Okay. Bob Harvey. These are great. Sorry, I got lost in a bear sheep farmer. Yeah, that's what it said. I won't be able to find that entry again, will I? Yeah, I think we should do Talisman of Death at some point. So, talking of that, the next book that we are doing is Joseph Daniels' Tales Foretold. We're going to be doing that. And this is 4 game book prologues. So it's similar in the fact of what James Orquetta's done, where there's 4 taster stories. James's are not tasters for bigger game books, although I don't know, he might expand one of them. These are prologues. These are like tutorials, if you like, for books that he's already written. The Sick and the Dead is the one we're going to play, which is the prologue to the book Bite the Hand, Part 1. So we're going to be gearing up with that this Wednesday. This Wednesday. I'm not going away. This Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time. Also, what else was I going to say? Can't remember. Oh yes, bear in mind, Guildlands is coming out in June, so that's very exciting. The publisher contacted me saying that he has received from the printer new bits for this, because this is the publisher's proof copy from the printer, so it's pretty much the finished game. Yeah, it says long packs, a sample, not for resale. So this is a sample of what the finished game is going to look like. And what's this? Hey Ken, sleep, get thy clothes from Woolworths. I've heard it. So I'm excited to do that because I'm going to be playing this Sunday with the publisher and some friends, and we'll look at the new components as well. So that's very exciting. And I have been playing this with friends. I took it down to the board game club a couple of times, played it with different people. They all seem to enjoy it, which is good. Good positive feedback. Obviously, sometimes games aren't necessarily games that some people would normally play. So it's interesting when they play a game where they go, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be my type of game, but I did enjoy it. So that's good. People do compare it to Carcassonne because you're laying tiles and building a city. That's going to be a natural thing that's going to happen. However, it's much more complicated than Carcassonne. This is a mid-complexity level game. I would say not really near heavy complexity, but mid-complexity, nearer the lighter side of complexity, mid-complexity, if that made sense. So really excited about that. And also, hang on, just going to sneeze. Hang on. No, just going to sneeze. Nobody wants to see that or hear that. That's Grocklesnook. That's Grocklesnook. I have made a few more changes to the Wonky Wand. Which is another game that Kedrick and I are developing. I play tested it with some members down the board game club. And again, very interesting feedback. Every time you play test it is really interesting to see how people play it, what feedback they get, they give you, all of that. It's really valuable. And yeah, so they suggested 1 or 2 changes, and I have ordered some actual little crystal tokens. So they only cost about something like $5.99, but you get, there's like, they're meant for weddings where you throw these little crisp plastic, instead of confetti you throw these little tokens. It's like, but you know, they're good for board games. Poor Grocklesnook's ears. Yeah, I know, he's an imp, he's magical. He obviously just blocked it out. He certainly heard that sneeze. Yeah, so I've got these little crystals, they're coming on the way, so they are now going to be added. So I'm upping the quality of the prototype. And I printed off some new cards, and also going to introduce, there's a board, so every player gets a board now, so it's cards plus a board. And it's still at the playtesting phase. It might be that we playtest the boards and they don't work, but what you're meant to do is when you cast a spell, you put your spell in one of the 3 spell slots that you have on your board. They've been discarded, so they're used spells, if you like, the residue of a spell. And you put them in there, and each spell has a different colour on it. When you collect 3 of the same colour, you gain a crystal. When you gain 5 crystals, you win the game. That is the basic premise of the game. And what I worked out is that people were getting confused with spells they hadn't cast and spells that were in their discard pile if it was just sitting on the table. So by demarcating where the spells go, putting them on a board, just makes it a lot clearer. So it's just little things like that now we're there. I think we're pretty much there with the mechanics. It's just little tweaks like that. So there we go. So that is what I've been working on. It's good that Jam, your game book is coming along nicely. Sounds great. And that you've got 4 days where you can just completely blitz something. It makes such a massive difference, doesn't it? If you're writing full time as opposed to fitting in another job. However, you know, a lot of authors, you do need a second job because trying to make a living as an author is difficult. It really is. Unless you have that breakout novel, or you just have loads of books out there that are hopefully generating X amount of income. But there's no guarantee on that. But do we do it for the money? Kind of. I think if you start off writing for money, I think you're going to be disappointed. You do it because you love doing it. And we write game books because we love playing game books and we like the concept of game books. And also we like writing game books. I'm very tempted to do, after we do Joseph Daniels one, very tempted just to go for a bit of a classic fighting fantasy. Talisman of Death. Who actually wrote this? Oh, this is Jamie Thompson and Mark Smith. Ah, okay. So there we are. I think that is it. We've come up for the hour mark. Oh, my crystals are arriving today. Just looked at a little notification. Fantastic. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. I know it's a hot day in England, so obviously you know you want to go out and enjoy that. You shouldn't. You should be inside watching me, obviously, but you know you've got to make your own choices. You've got to do you. Hopefully, Jonathan Green is cracking on with his Shakespeare versus Cthulhu game book. That is the latest one that he's working on. The latest one of his one that he got funded on Kickstarter. That's fantastic. And yeah, so I'm going to post up on Edra Tales a request for playtesters. If you miss that in the next couple of days, just DM me on Facebook, and you know hopefully I'll reply. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your feedback, your suggestions about stuff. It's fantastic. Grocklesnook looks like he's about to throw something at me. I think you're right, Jem. I think I need to placate him somehow. Do you want some scale drake snacks? That will do it. Heading off to dinner with Mum's best friend. Fantastic. And the aunt. Fantastic. That sounds brilliant. Have a lovely time doing that, Lirin. Thank you so much, Jam. Thank you, Lirin. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Sally. Thank you to anyone else that watched. I really, really do appreciate it. And also, if you didn't comment and you were just watching, again, I appreciate that. Not everybody wants to comment. Absolutely fine. If you do want to follow the channel and you haven't followed the channel yet, that would be fantastic. It helps with the algorithms. And also, it does mean if you click the notification button, you should get notified when I go live. The next live stream will be this Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time, where we will be playing Tales Foretold. We'll be playing, was it The Sick and the Unwell? Oh, that was going so smoothly there. The Sick and the Dead. We'll be playing that one. And then, what else am I going to say? Yes, that's it. Everybody have a lovely, lovely weekend. Thank you. And may your thieving never be caught. Ever. That was rubbish. I'm losing my touch. See you later.